Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in to Arizona Dreams. Today I'm joined by my lovely wife, Mrs. Arizona Dreams. In this video we're going to talk about pools and the Valley of the Sun, which we're sitting in the shade intentionally, but it is about 8 o'clock and it's already almost 90 degrees. So this is a prime area for pools.
Can you live in Arizona and survive happily without a pool? Because a lot of people, when we put out the video, when we moved into our house, they were shocked that we bought a house without a pool. Because people coming here a lot of them can't seem to imagine being in the Valley of the Sun and not having a pool.
Yeah, that's craziness. And my wife was pretty adamant about wanting a pool. Because she's one of those Midwesterners that was like, you can't be in the Valley of the Sun and not have a pool. But as you can see, and you've seen from several of our videos, there's no pool behind us. Some community pools are part of the HOA and some are not. But is it possible to survive without a pool? I'm gonna say yeah. And there's a couple of reasons for that, but the most obvious reason is pools take work. They take maintenance, they take money. And they're not cheap to put in if you don't have one. So if you are dead set that you have to have a pool, buy it with a pool. Because we were getting estimates and we were figuring $30,000 was about where it was going to cost
For
to
the
get.
pool?
Yeah.
Well, I see in my unofficial Facebook group searching of people around here who have had pools put in, the average for them seemed to be starting at about $35,000.
So the articles that I was seeing online were actually saying it as low as, I think 20, like just around 20. So if the Facebook groups are saying, nah, it's 35, I'm going to guess those $20,000 pools are like kiddie pools.
Or maybe they were from a few years ago. So let's get into the pros and the cons of a pool. Because I think we're still debating on, is it worth it versus is it worth the trouble? Let's start with one of my pros, is that right now we're in the thick of the summer. The temperatures have been, I don't know, ranging from 105s up to 115s lately.
114 I think was our highest so far this summer.
And to be honest, I'm bored. I'm getting cabin fever. There's nothing to do. It's just you go outside in the morning, it's hot. You go outside in the afternoon, it's hot. And then in the evening, it starts to cool down, but it's still hot. But I feel like, at least when the sun starts to go down and the temperatures get around 100, I could be enjoying that pool, having something to do, like 6, 7 o'clock in the evening. The other day, I was out here with the dog at 10:30, and the neighbors, they were out partying, just living their best lives.
Living their best life.
Yeah, and that could be me.
Oh,
I want that to be me.
So pro one, envy. Go ahead.
Yeah, neighbor envy, because most of our neighbors have pools.
That's
and I know
true.
you shouldn't live your life like that, but I'm living my life like that right now.
Okay.
And, entertainment, it will give me something to do in the summer. Because this is not cut.
So would you use said pool during the day or
No,
only at
only
night?
at night. The sun is too much and it's too hot. So I would wait till the sun went down, and then my evenings would be pool time.
So for what, 6 to about 8, since the boys go to bed at 8?
I don't have to only be in the pool with the children.
Oh.
We have lots of fun in the pool.
Oh.
Just us.
Now define in the pool.
Sitting on some steps. Because I can't swim. You're right. I cannot swim. You don't need to swim. I don't want an Olympic-sized pool where you're doing all that. I just want to soak in it.
Okay.
Cool off.
As a side note, I have a coworker who, his wife, much like mine, also cannot swim, but neither can he, nor his 2 children. And her hard requirement was, not unlike my wife's, it's got to have a pool. Well, they bought a house with a pool, and he told me they've been in there for a little over a year now. 3 times his wife has been in the pool. And this is what I envision for my wife. She will go out, his wife will go out, dip her feet in the pool like she just said, take a selfie saying something like, enjoying the Arizona lifestyle, and then go back in the house.
but I haven't had a chance to prove
okay.
any of
Okay,
this.
that's fair.
And I don't even know if the story is true.
Oh.
This may just be you trying to convince me of how much a pool will be a waste. I think this is a made-up story.
Clarify
I think
that.
it's made up. But yeah, that
okay.
could give you Instagram. That
Yeah,
could
that
take
could
your
give me Insta
Instagram
famous.
to the
Yeah,
next
yeah.
level, you know?
That's right, Insta famous.
Hashtag fun in the sun. Hashtag desert life. Hashtag blessed.
Hashtag blessed.
Hashtag
All right.
blessed.
All right, so pro number one is it will give you activity.
Yeah, give me something to do.
Pro two is a debatable pro. It's going to cool you off. I will tell you from experience when I was single and in apartments, in the summertime, the water was like bath water, ridiculously warm in the summertime. The water was too ridiculously hot to be refreshing and to cool off. So for me, I think we'd have to figure out a way to try to keep the water a little cooler in the summertime.
See, I've heard about the bathwater situation.
Mm-hmm.
There are such things as pool chillers.
No, I understand. They're
that
air conditioners
works
that
the
basically
opposite
air condition the
of
water.
like a heat pump. So you can, but it costs money, so that's a con. It's like what I read was I think it adds an extra $600 to $1,000 to add that chiller.
It's a con that can be addressed.
Yes.
So it is
yes.
a con.
Yeah, yeah,
But it's an addressable con.
right.
Yeah, so that's two pros, right? It's activity and it can be refreshing. It's certainly refreshing in the wintertime. And again, you'll find natives who won't swim.
Yeah, I was
in the
gonna say, but
wintertime
nobody swims in the.
unless it's heated, which
Yeah. So I guess another con would be if you don't heat it, you really only use it half the year, maybe.
once you get acclimated, yeah, that's
so,
probably safe.
as I tell
Now-
you, it's for a lifestyle. It's not for really an investment,
Let's talk about pool safety.
which is one of the reasons why I'm not pushing as hard for it as I might be if I didn't have kids, because you hear, there's a lot of drownings here and
Yeah.
everywhere, but here especially with kids.
All right,
and
let's talk about that though. real
yeah.
quick. So Arizona has a double the national rate of accidental drownings for the United States.
And it's not always, oh, well, they should have had a fence or they should have had that. I've seen some stories where they had a fence and somehow the kid got up it or the gate didn't close all the way. There's just so many concerns as a parent when you have kids in a pool or even a dog. Like we have a dog now in a pool because I've heard about some dogs drowning in the pool. And, I feel like, we do what we need to do to keep the kids safe, but there's always that fear and that risk that maybe that day you didn't do something right, or maybe that day the gate didn't
Ages
close.
1 to 4 are the highest risk.
Yeah.
That to me is a huge concern. That to Arizona is a huge concern. They've initiated a state law, that if you have a pool, by law, it has to be surrounded completely by a 5-foot fence or barrier. And if it's a wall like is behind me, it only has to be 4 feet, but it has to be a concrete cinder block wall. Then it only has to be 4 feet. There's a couple of other regulations you can look into, but that's how serious it is here for pool safety. And I'm sure the majority of the United States now has regulations around backyard pools. I know that when we were in Ohio, you were required to surround the pool by a separate fence from your backyard fence.
Well, yeah, and Arizona has that same law if you have children under 6. So if you have children 6 and under, you have to have an additional fencing around the pool. Yeah. Let's talk about another, I guess, pro. Let's talk about a pro.
Okay.
I've heard many people say that even when it's too cold to swim or get in the pool, or they're not even in the pool, that having a pool in the backyard just makes your backyard feel like a resort. It's like a backyard oasis. So you come out in the morning with your coffee and you're just relaxed and peaceful.
As long as you're taking care of it. Yeah.
So that's another, another way to
there's
enjoy and
tranquility
enhance,
to a pool, sure.
Yeah, your backyard. So that, for me, that's a pro. So I guess a big con for most people is the price. because even if you buy, you could buy the house with the pool, so that part won't be an issue. If you build a pool, like I said, it seems like around here the starting price is about $35,000. That's not cheap. There's the ongoing maintenance. In the groups that I was looking in, where people were discussing pools, it was kind of split down the middle. So a lot of people were like, "Yeah, I can imagine being in Arizona without a pool. It's great. I love it." And then there's people like, "I wish I never got in this pool. If I had to do it over again, I wouldn't do it. It's a money drain." They were saying that you're always repairing something or fixing something. The maintenance, the time, the effort. So if you have somebody come in and service your pool for you, I found out that the average rate for that is about $100 a month.
A month?
Now, yeah, a month.
That seems cheap.
Well, that's what it was. I found that online, and I found that in the groups. The average, they said, was about $100 a month, just for somebody to come out and service your pool. So for some people that may not be a lot, and some people that may be an expense that they don't want. And then, like I said, you've got the repairs.
I wanted to ask, that $100 estimate, is that just to come out and clean the pool? When you say service the pool, is that just to check to make sure everything is running?
I
okay?
think so. I think it's to clean. People will say, "Oh, he comes out and he drops a few tablets, I guess chlorine or
Yeah.
whatever, in there, and just make sure everything's okay." And so yeah,
That
I don't know.
surprises me. Let's talk about the pool cleaning, since you mentioned the service.
Yeah.
Algae here grows crazy fast on the water, and that's when you see pools get green, right? And if you think about it, it makes perfect sense. Algae feeds off of sunlight, and we have a lot of sunlight. I've seen pools turn within a couple days where they start to get cloudy and whatnot. And
Well, I'm
cloudy-
sure if you had to call someone to come out, and would they be shocking the pool at that point? Is that what they're doing? I don't know. I don't know how all this works.
So, shocking the pool is when it's gone completely green or whatever, right?
Yeah.
And it needs to be shocked. The chemical balance needs to be shocked. You're shocking the system back in. But you need to do ongoing treatments
Yeah.
and cleaning. Now, that maybe that's how they're getting around it. They're putting in the equipment that are doing the pool sweeper, right? That goes around the bottom by itself.
Yeah.
Maybe they have a floating tablet dispenser, whatever.
And even if you do it yourself, you have to pay for the
You have to pay for the chemicals,
and-
the kits, the equipment,
Yeah.
and it's time.
and it's time. And I've heard that during monsoon season,
Yeah.
pools get really dirty from debris and dust and all that. So it's, in addition to cost, there's just a lot of maintenance that goes into owning a pool. And that's I don't know if that's something we want to do all the time, because I think you would probably be more the do it yourself kind of guy. Now, another thing I read from people here who have pools is that a lot of people say, "Yeah, I got this pool for my kids, but once they became teenagers, we don't use the pool anymore because they're off doing other things." So I just wonder, would that become us? Like, would we be using this pool and then they get to be 14 or 15 and then
I
it
have a
goes,
pool, I'm using it.
okay, so he said he doesn't think we'll stop using
No,
the pool.
I didn't. I can't speak for her.
I'll always be in the pool. I'll be
I'll use it.
65 and still soaking in the pool. Yeah.
She'll be 65 and say, "Oh, you don't need to be out there in that sun."
Look, do not do that voice. I believe I'll use it because I'm not getting the pool for my kids. I'm getting the pool for me too. So I don't think that'll happen to us. I hope not. But they said, but some families said that once my kid got older, if we didn't have a pool, they didn't want to be home anymore because they wanted to go to all the houses that had the pools. So it could be the reverse. Maybe we
Maybe
need a
you
pool.
have the cool kids, and they'll
so
have
that we can have
all the
the-
kids in the neighborhood at your house. And then you have to be,
Yeah, and then I don't want
social.
that liability though. Then I got to
Yeah,
watch
and-
other people's kids and hope
and
they
you're
don't
gonna have to
drown or
socialize with all
anything.
these children.
I can't swim. What if there's an emergency?
So you're gonna shut the pool down in the summertime?
To neighboring children, if they want to come here while you're here, that's a liability. See, that's another con. The pool could be a liability for just having people there.
I think that it's a discussion for you and yours. For us, we decided that we were okay to wait and see if we wanted the pool once we got settled into our house and made this house ours. And I think we're both happy with that decision. I know this one will occasionally go through the. What we
It's
call
a
it.
roller coaster
Yeah.
ride with me.
Yeah.
One day I'm all for it, I need it, I can't live without it, and the next day I'm like, I don't know if it's worth it. You know, but what I have found is you can live here and enjoy life without a pool. I mean, it's not always ideal, especially this time of year, but you know, before we know it, summer will be over, and I'll be like, why was I so worried about a pool? You know, for the next 6 months.
And I will
so,
say on that note, one, there are alternatives.
yeah,
There's a lot of splash pads,
and they have splash pads.
and they have
all
splash
over.
pads. Yeah, I was just gonna say, there are pools that you can go to, right? And you can have open pool time. There's YMCA's out here, just like there are across the country.
And
So-
there's a bunch of community
Yeah.
pools. I mean,
There's
we had a
community
nice
pools.
community pool at one point that we only used like 2 times.
Yeah.
So that makes me wonder. But see, oh, that's another pro. You know, you having
You
a
don't have to
pool
go
in your
to it,
backyard, you can have it right there. It's convenient. You can walk out of your house, do your thing, dry off, and then go back in. Whereas if I have to, what was that? What? Mind blown?
Yes.
Okay. Whereas when we had to get in our car and pack the kids in and carry our stuff with us,
Yeah.
it wasn't as
Like-
enticing. It's convenience. I like that because I'm not as into it, and you can do it at 10:30 at night and not have to.
You're gonna
you
have
know.
a 4-year-old up at 10:30?
Me.
Oh, well.
This is more about me than the children.
It's not all about you.
It is.
Alrighty, well, that is another pro, for sure. You know the drill, man. I hope you like this one. Subscribe, share, like, comments down below. Tell my wife how she needs to start making more of her own videos.
I'm gonna be
Because
going.
you want.
I'm gonna disappear
opinion.
now. Yeah, sometimes when it interests me, I'll come
Check
on.
back for the next video. See ya.